Alrighty everybody, this is Jim from JCRC and I'm going to attempt a build video. This is a Vaterra twin hammers kit and a few parts sitting on the side there. I did a video the other day about this. Axial AE5 speed controller, Spectrum SR415 DSMR 4-channel sport surface receiver, a Spectrum S6180 standard digital Metal Gear surface servo, and then another Spectrum S6260 HV digital high-speed surface servo, and an RC 4-wheel drive 27-turn brush motor. These are all the things that I plan on shoving inside this Vaterra twin hammers, and I've already gotten started on the body. I started painting that already. Not too sure on the final color yet, but I started out with this Duplicolor Clear Effects. It is empty. Used one full can of this so far on the plastic. Basically, this will turn any paint color into like a flip-flop chameleon paint job. I use this on my Trail Finder too, but this time I'm doing Lexan, so I don't know what color I'm going to pick for a backer yet, for the back half color. That's going to determine what it looks like overall. It'll basically turn any flat color into a like a flip-flop paint job. So here's what I use. Bought it at my local auto store. It's not a full-size can. It's only a 3/4 can or 2/3 can, whatever you want to call it. So once again, Clear Effects, Duplicolor. That's what I'm starting off with. And here is a quick shot of all the parts that I've painted so far with it. You can see that it's just pure metal flake. See all the different colors on the cardboard, or on the cardboard from the overspray. So I've got three full coats of that on there. 3 solid coats, I should say. I emptied the can out, so however many coats you get to a can, I did it in 3 attempts. So I'm just going to let all this set up here before I blast it with its final color. I'm going to let this dry for like another hour before I blast it again. So that's where I'm at so far. I started with the body. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is open up the box and just start laying out parts. This piece of paper here, this big piece of brown paper, came in the box for packing paper, or packing padding I should say. So I just laid this out on top of the cardboard that I have on my table already, just so I have a nice clean surface area to work on. Alright, so I'm going to start laying out these parts here real quick, and since I'm filming with my cell phone, I'm going to have to pause in between everything, so give me a minute here to start laying out these parts. Well, alrighty then, got everything all laid out here. Part bag A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And the mighty manual right here, with a bunch of stickers on the back half. Let's get that baby opened up. And there's a quick peek at the stickers here before I slide those off to the side. I don't want them getting wrinkled or damaged in any way. So you got some light stickers and some twin hammers there, and some seat belts for the driver. A couple sets of numbers for the number plates. Alright, and the mighty manual. Alright, let's open this guy up here. I just wrote some basic stuff in there, my name and the date that I purchased it on, and from the place that I purchased it from. Ooh, lots of languages with safety precautions. I'm sure you guys all care about that. More stuff. Gotta love it when they give you little little pictures with descriptions on what you're supposed to do. Now we are 10 pages in so far, and I don't see any pictures as of yet. Oh, here we are. A1. Motor mount assembly. Items needed. So I guess I'll put the camera down and start wrenching on that. Alright, so from what this is telling me is to open up bag A and bag A1. So there's the bag A there. There's bag A2 sitting inside. And this is bag A1. So let's get this guy open. Alright, well I'm looking inside these bag of parts here. Just cracked open bag A1. I see they gave us a nice metal box wrench. Some Team Losi, really? Team Losi racing grease. And I don't know what that is. That might be some Loctite, thread lock. Yep, some red Loctite. I'm probably going to end up using some blue Loctite that I have. High pressure black grease. Oh, right on. Alright, so we got some Allen wrenches in here. Looks like a tie rod or ball joint, or well, tie rod end wrench here. Some grease and some Loctite, along with the box wrench. It's like one half of the transmission case. Now this little part right here, this is for the motor mount and the whatchamacallit gear there. I'm thinking that this is plastic, so I might actually take apart the WLtoys, and the WLtoys has a blue aluminum one of these in there. I might take that out there and scavenge it off of the WLtoys and use the blue one instead. Use the aluminum piece instead of this plastic piece. So I might end up doing that. There's one half of the differential transmission case. There's the other half. And a bunch of metal gears in here. That was part of the reason that I bought this kit, is that it came with metal gears. As you can see right there, kit includes popular optional parts. The tires were optional, I believe. The two-stage foam inserts, front locker, metal wheel hexes, metal transmission gears, heavy-duty front axle out drives, front and rear sway bars, threaded aluminum shocks, yeah, blah blah, clear body panels. We already know that. So that's some of the reasons, or that's one of the reasons that I bought it in a kit form and not an RTR form, was that this kit included all these optional parts. But what it didn't include was that aluminum transmission piece. So I'm gonna take apart old Mr. WLtoys there and scavenge the blue one out of that. Alright, so here's just a quick peek inside the WLtoys. You can see that blue aluminum piece right there that I'm talking about. I'm gonna take that little guy off of there and put it onto the twin hammers. Because that is part of the color scheme that I'm working with. I know the twin hammers came with a lot of green parts, like green shock screws and stuff like that. So I might ultimately be just taking these off of here too and seeing if they work on the twin hammers equipment, along with that blue aluminum transmission side cover there. So I guess I'm going to take this part here real quick off camera. Alright, so off camera I went ahead and removed the cage, making sure to put all my WLtoys screws back into their original locations, with the cage being here, all the screws in the bottom, bumper screws on the front, whatnot. So I'm going to put this off to the side. This driver and whole cockpit assembly here is pretty much the same for this as it is on the WLtoys. Excuse my phone cord here. Here's the WLtoys version right here, and they pretty much look identical. So I'm not too sure. I might get a little lazy and maybe even scavenge this piece off the WLtoys too. we'll find out when that moment comes up. Alright, so I'm going to commence the steel in this blue part here. I might do this whole little section off film and swap it out and then continue on with the Vaterra build, just so you guys aren't forced to watch me work on a WLtoys. Alright, I'm back for a moment. You know, off camera I went ahead and I took these green shock collars off of the shock and attempted to swap them out for the blue ones that were on the WLtoys. So for future reference, anybody who's thinking about doing that, the WLtoys ones are a different thread. They will not screw onto the shock towers for the Vaterra twin hammers, and vice versa. The Vaterra twin hammers ones will not thread onto here. They start threading on, and they'll get down about a quarter of the way, and then it comes to a complete stop. So, and same if you try to put these onto the Vaterra shock towers, they're just a different thread. So, no swapping of the shock collars apparently, or the shock tops. I'm gonna have to go with green for a while, I guess. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to get this little blue piece of aluminum off of here? I'm not too sure. WLtoys is kind of hit me with a roadblock here. This one little screw that I'm touching with my finger is stripped out. The head is stripped out on it. I haven't even, I mean, I just started to attempt to loosen it, and it won't go. All my Allens are just spinning inside it. I'm sorry for the camera not focusing, but that little guy right there is not coming loose. And I got to do a whole bunch of, I'm going to have to split this whole transmission in half in order to get that blue piece out of there. So I'm kind of on the fence about it. Definitely making it tough for me. So we'll see. Well, all right, that wasn't too bad. I had to split the whole case to get that little blue piece off. I still haven't gotten that screw undone. I figured since we're sitting here, another one of my viewers was asking me about plastic quality on the WLtoys versus Vaterra. Looking at these two pieces side by side, they look virtually identical. The Vaterra one is in my hands. It does appear to be, well, I don't know. They look pretty close, but I think the Vaterra one is probably made out of better plastic. You might not be able to tell on camera, but you can kind of tell by feeling it. It definitely has a little bit coarser feel. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but regardless, the WL one feels a little bit thin, a little bit flexible, and the Vaterra one feels like it's got some more beef to it. So probably just a better plastic in general. And here's a little shot of the transmission cases, or the sides. WLtoys, Vaterra. There wasn't really any grease in here, so I mean all this is dry. There's nothing on there. You can see that the plastic is a lot shinier on the WLtoys versus the Vaterra. The Vaterra almost looks like it has something. I mean, I'm not a plastic expert, but it definitely looks like there's more consistency to the plastic. Like there might be something in there, like some kind of fibrous material. It's like Tyco or Radio Shack versus name brand RC. Just kind of taking a peek at it. Quick look. Otherwise, they do look virtually identical. Other than the fact that this one seems like it's a little bit better made. And here is the other transmission half case here for the other side. WLtoys on the left here, Vaterra on the right this time. Shiny looking cheap plastic versus the Vaterra plastic. See how that plastic has that kind of texture to it. It definitely seems like it's a little bit more solid. And you know, I went this far just because I was trying to steal this blue stuff off the WLtoys. And I really started looking at it here. You see all those little pits in the WLtoys? All those pits in the aluminum? The Vaterra really doesn't have those pits in the aluminum, which is kind of making me think that this might be like billet aluminum and this one might be possibly cast. So I'm kind of wondering here, kind of on the fence. I think I might just go ahead and use the Vaterra stuff and not worry about the blue color, just because this doesn't look as strong. That looks like it might snap in a heartbeat. So I mean, yeah, it looks pretty thick and whatnot, and it's really not going anywhere, it's just sitting still. But nevertheless, it just doesn't look like the same kind of quality. So I think I'm just going to reassemble the old WLtoys and then just get back to working on the Vaterra here. And then in the future, if I go ahead and get aluminum transmission cases and differential cases for it and whatnot, I'll swap it out then. So in the meantime, I'm going to slap the WLtoys back together and give up on swapping out the blue stuff from this thing over to the Vaterra. And since there is no grease or oil or anything in the WLtoys transmission, and I do plan on keeping this thing around for a minute, even though I'm going to be thrashing on it, I just went ahead and added a little bit of grease to the transmission just to keep it lubed up and running for a little while. I know this is a Vaterra video. Like I said, I was swapping parts, so got to take care of problems when you come across them. And alrighty then, blink of an eye for you guys, a little over 45 minutes for me, I don't know, 30 to 45 minutes. Got the WLtoys back together, there she is sitting, and we'll get back to the project at hand. Yeah, this is probably not going to be the best build video since I don't have something to hold my camera while I do this. I went ahead and did this first little half of the instructions here, and put this case together. I will say that they are not very descriptive as to where the nuts and bolts and whatnot are. They say bag A1, but they should say like bag A11 or bag A12 or bag A13, such as that, bag A13. The bag that these little screws and nuts and bolts in were right here, and there was no label on this one at all. So I just had to go off a description and looking at it to decipher, you know, which one was which. So be forewarned. And now we're gonna go on to this little step here, putting all these little gears together. Tell you to use some black grease on that. Likewise there, as if you guys care, here's the black grease that they provided. Team Low C, right? And it's a Vaterra. High pressure black grease. I've seen some sparkly in there. I'm thinking that this is some kind of moly. There was a little warning on the box saying that some products were known to the state of California to cause cancer, and this is probably it right here. I believe this is some moly grease. So yeah, we'll get started on this little mess here, and hopefully I can decipher Vaterra's hieroglyphics with where all the parts are supposed to be at. One more moment, gonna have to pause it. And complaint number 2. It's definitely not as user-friendly as RC 4-wheel drive. So I'm supposed to assemble all these gears. Obviously this is a different size gear here than this one over here. You know, it tells you what the gear is, what the number is on the gear, I believe, but it doesn't tell you which one it is, like how many teeth or anything like that. You know, do you put the bigger one on the inside, do you put the bigger one on the outside? So it's kind of a hard guess as to which one goes where. And then basically all they have right here for the bearings, I mean, they don't tell you that they're bearings, but obviously they are. It was easy to size them up and make sure that I had the right ones in the right spot. 2 of the big ones and 4 of the small ones. But the once again, they're just not very descriptive, you know. And then there's supposed to be these washers as well. Well, they don't even show the washers on this part page for things that you need to use on this page, and they're not on the previous page either. So, and and then they kind of leave you guessing as to what part bag that is actually in. So once again, gonna have to just kind of look at the pictures and decide which one is bigger and which one is smaller. That one kind of looks like it's bigger, but who knows really. I'm gonna have to really look at the description on the picture and look at the back of the gear and just try to match everything up as best I can. So that's where I'm at currently with this little predicament. And then like this part's back here that has a shift fork on it, I'm kind of looking for the washers that are supposed to go in here, and they are definitely not in this bag. There's some E-rings or C-clips in there, a couple bearings in there. You're probably saying, well, why don't you get them from the bag where you got the gears from? Well, this is the bag that I pulled the gears from. And we got a couple bearings in here. There's a spacer in here, another part of the transmission here, another rod there for the gears to sit on. But there's no washers in that bag. So I have to assume that it came from this first bag that I opened up, the one that has no label on it whatsoever. But there's 3 washers in here, and they're only showing 2 on this page. So, and there's a couple C-clips in here as well. So a little bit more deciphering here, a little bit more deciphering. Alright, so a little bit of looking at the pictures, a little bit of common sense. Obviously they want the smaller gear on the left, bigger gear on the right. And then as far as layout, which way do they go? Because you got a little lip that sticks out on this gear and it's flat on the back side. You want the little lip facing out. That way, when the little shift drum here is engaged, it's engaged positive on that. If you had it facing the other way, it hits, but it's only hitting halfway, so you definitely want these flipped around so it's the flat side facing in. Little lip part sticking out. That way when it does engage, it's engaging fully. Alright, so I got this little mess put together. Those little washers right there were definitely the ones that I was looking for. There's one right there. And then when I'm putting this all together, I'm making sure to put lots of that moly grease on there. You know, not too much that you're going to have it, you know, hydraulically lock or anything like that, but just a little bit here and there. So I'm also putting it on top of the bearing, in between the bearing and that washer on either side, just to kind of give that a little bit extra lube before I put this last little bearing on right here, because they all kind of get sandwiched together. So I've got all this put together all the way up to this point right here with that last little bearing. So I'm going to go ahead and slap that little guy on there.